Keep fanning the fire. Keep fanning the fire, Liam. Double down. If in doubt, double down. Welcome back, everyone. Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. Look, Norwich take on Sheffield Wednesday on Wednesday at Hillsborough. Bottom playing second from bottom. I think you would have probably got one of those parts right if we discussed this game pre-season. One would have assumed that Sheffield Wednesday would be struggling down there. They've obviously been deducted points, and hopefully for them, through the worst of it, and kind of there is light on the horizon for Sheffield Wednesday. I think the part you wouldn't have guessed pre-season, that Norwich City would be fighting for their lives second from bottom. It has been a truly, truly miserable start. There is no other way to describe it. And I was speaking to a couple of Sheffield Wednesday fans and fans of other Championship clubs and also Premier League clubs today, because they're all intrigued as to what's going on at Norwich. We are the headline at the moment. We are the team that people are looking at and going, what on earth is going on there? And I'm still trying to figure that out as well. But I've had a few people say, surely it turns, right? You're not going to get relegated. You're Norwich. That's the point where you need to step in and you need to go, no, it can happen and it will happen if we continue to operate in the manner in which we are. You'll see on there that's the team that kind of finished the game against Hull at the weekend. We'll get on to that. But look, Liam Manning is still in charge of Norwich City. He will be in charge of this game, and I fully expect him to be in charge against Leicester. Then we've got an international break. Then it might change. Who knows? I don't know that for sure, but I'm just assuming that you get to a point where it is completely and utterly untenable. We have already reached that point, but you're leading into an international break where you've at least got a little bit of time to try and make the change. Now, Liam Manning has spoke to the press today. He's come out scrapping. He's come out fighting. He's come out with a couple of classic buzzwords that we could all tick off the Liam Manning bingo card: behaviours, processes. Behaviour is definitely the favourite word at the moment. For me, let's start to see some behaviours. Let's start to see Liam Manning facing up to the fans. Let's start to see some winning behaviours. Able to change a game when the opposition changed the system up a little bit and then we concede and then we have no response. Let's start to see the behaviour of changing that around. And let's start to see some passion from the front, right? Let's start to see the leader of the pack starting to fire things up a little bit. Because if I was one of his players right now, I would be completely and utterly checked out, utterly demotivated, and not willing to graft for this gaffer. And I think we're starting to see that. We certainly saw it on Saturday. I think there were a couple that interacted with a certain defender after the game on Saturday, and I don't think he was too best pleased to be dropped from the team against Hull. So clearly a little bit of unsettlement, I think, in the dressing room at the moment, and you can see why. They are very poor, very, very poor indeed. The interesting line I thought from the Liam Manning interview press conference was he basically said that sacking me won't change a great deal when asked the question about whether he is believing that he's still the right man for the job. Sacking me won't change a great deal. Interesting take. First of all, I think it will. Second of all, I get his point. I get his point that just sacking him won't change a great deal, which is why it's important to clarify that I think, and a lot of others, aren't just calling for the sacking of one person here. I am calling for the sacking of Liam Manning, Ben Napper, Zoe Webber, Neil Adams, Mike Atanasio, whoever involved with Norfolk Holdings Group. Please start to listen that we are in a seriously precarious position now. We are quickly getting cut adrift from safety in the Championship, and needing to go a point a game from now until the end of the season is not feasible under the current setup. What other notes were there from the press conference? Obviously, injuries, classic. Liam Manning throwing the recovery and the sports scientists under the bus, and probably rightly so, because it has been shameful for quite some time. Liam Gibbs is out for a month with a recurring hamstring injury. Lucia Mahovo is still no closer to coming back. Jack Stacey is concussed. Forson and Chris Garden will be in contention, but probably won't start the game, much like the game against Hull on Saturday. So we're still using injuries as an excuse. Make of that what you will. Look, you can probably tell from my voice, you can probably tell from the podcast, you can probably tell from elements of sarcasm within this video. I'm so completely and utterly done with this setup. Like, I cannot believe I'm sat here previewing a game against Sheffield Wednesday, who are in administration, who have a hell of a lot of injuries of their own, and are having to kind of resort to playing youth players, much like us. You see there, Mundell Smith. We don't have to play Mundell Smith, but we are choosing to, because we don't rate our £6 million winger that was signed by Ben Napper. That's another story. But we are in a place where we're going to Hillsborough and we are expecting not to win. Genuinely. Can anyone come on here and tell me that they are expecting to get a result at Hillsborough? It will be packed out. It's bonfire night. They're buzzing that the Chanzeries are out. They are seeing light at the end of the tunnel for the first time in a very long time. They have fight. They have desire. They have tenacity. They have a unity. All things that Norwich City don't have. I heard Liam Manning calling for unity amongst the fan base. The reason that Sheffield Wednesday are unified is because they have got rid of an ownership group that they didn't like. They didn't like the way that their club was being run. They didn't feel respected as a fan base, and they wanted to see change. Unity happens when you feel listened to and you start to see things progressing in the way that you want to see. The reason the Norwich City fans, we are unified in a sense, because we're wanting to see change. We're all on the same hymn sheet in terms of we know who we want to see leaving, and we know what we want to feel and hear from the football club. All of those things we're not seeing, and we're not hearing, and we're not feeling listened to. So we are unified, just for the wrong reasons. And I just find the kind of cockiness and the arrogance of it all quite alarming at the moment. Liam Manning is coming out and going, sack me if you want, but it won't change anything. The reason he can say that is because he still somehow feels safe in his job. We've not picked up a single point. We have not picked up a single point at home this season. Do you know how bad that is? 7 games we've played at Carrow Road. We've lost every single one. We are second from bottom in the Championship. The only team below us are Sheffield Wednesday, who've been deducted 12 points because they can't pay their players. This team, this club, has spent nearly £70 million since the arrival of Mark Atanasio. If I was Mark Atanasio, I would be tearing my hair out. I know 70 million quid isn't a huge amount of money to him, but the wastage, the utter incompetence to get this club to this point. The expectation, the target set was a top 6 finish. We're going to be lucky to get another 6 points on the board from now until the end of the season. And yet it goes on. Baffling. Utterly baffling. And I'm starting to doubt myself now whether we will actually see change in the international break. Or do we keep blaming it on injuries and that it will change and that something will magically appear in these performances that take us from absolute relegation fodder to title winning form? I don't know. Maybe they'll just stick with it. And maybe we'll just accept the rebuild in League One. Maybe that's what the outcome will be. Surely not. Surely not. Look, Norwich City need to go to Hillsborough and win. It's as simple as that. And if we don't win, I mean, what hope have you got? Can't get worse, can it? It can. And it will. Look, I'm beyond talking about structures and performances and team selection, I suspect it will be, well, who knows what it will be like, because when we find a system that is competent, we change it. We have to win. We have to win tomorrow night against Sheffield Wednesday, and we have to win against Leicester at the weekend, and then hopefully we'll sack some people and we can finally start to look forwards rather than meander in this hopelessness of performances that we're currently suffering through at the moment. Do I expect us to pick up a point this week? No, I don't. Look, on paper, are we a better team than Sheffield Wednesday? Probably. Only just, but probably. Do we even have 10% of their willingness to dig in and ability to thrive in uncertainty? Can we square up to adversity in the same way that these Sheffield Wednesday players can? Of course we can't. Of course we can't. So what we're essentially saying is, can we go 180 minutes of football against Sheffield Wednesday and Leicester facing zero adversity? Well, the question to that is no, and we can't cope with it, so we will definitely concede goals. That's a given. Do we back ourselves to score more goals than the opposition or on par? No. That's where we're at, right? That is where we're at. We've got a head coach that doesn't think sacking him will change anything. I disagree, but I do get the point that it's more than just Liam Manning that needs to go. He thinks that Norwich City can learn unity by Sheffield Wednesday. Well, fine. And a lot of the same on, we need to dig in and we need to start scoring goals and finding performances and learning how to suffer with setbacks and hoping that his players start to listen to him. I think that ship has sailed. We're doing a watch along for it, so that will be entertaining in some capacity. So do join us for that, and looking forward to seeing you over there. Look, this is a really, really critical period for this football club. Norwich City have to start winning football matches, otherwise we are going to be cut seriously adrift, and there is then no way back. We are still in a position where we can turn this around, and we can look back at these videos that we recorded at the start of November, in July, August, and go, remember when we thought we were going to go down? That was a distant memory. Let's hope that it is a distant memory in July and not a reality, because at the moment it feels very real that Norwich City are going to be playing football in League One next season. Let's hope that we look back and laugh at the exaggeration that we were putting on this, but my goodness, does it feel real at the moment, and my goodness, does it feel a scary prospect to be going to Hillsborough on a Wednesday night trying to find a result with this group of players and this head coach. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.